Hello, hello. Welcome to Beauty Superstars Talk, which is your backstage pass to experts in beauty. My name is Mickey Wright, and I'm your host and salon business coach who help hairstylists go from struggling to superstar and help them gain the confidence to charge what they're worth. So it has been said that we're all only 6 degrees from of separation from each other. And my guest today is actually even closer than that with two of my guests. And so originally, it's like we met quite a little while ago now, about 10 years, I think it was 2012. Safshin Carson had a Make Me a Master Stylist contest. And my guest today was actually one of four winners, and they won an all expense paid trip to the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., to train with the then HOTUS, the hairstylist to the of the United States, Johnny Wright, who was the hairstylist for the First Lady, Michelle Obama. We're actually not related. Some people ask that. And his assistant at the time was Yanae Dimtu, who took care of Michelle Obama's mother and her daughters. And so now she is actually taken over as Michelle Obama's stylist. And you may have seen her work last January during the inauguration when Michelle Obama made that grand entrance with that fabulous suit and her hair flowing. So anyway, one of the other prizes was they got to work with a salon business coach, which happened to be me. So it was a really great thing. And because of the relationships that I formed with each of the winners of that program, they insisted that I be part of the trip to DC, and so that was really, really quite the experience for me to be able to go meet with each of them in person and actually get to tour the White House and all of that with them. So that was a fabulous thing. And my guest is Anna Thomas Rhoden. And she was one of those winners, and just a tremendous experience. But last year, I started January with Four Under Four as our series, and Marjorie Lightford was also one of the winners of that contest as well. And so, what an exciting career she has had since then. I'll actually put a link in for her interview, but I think you'll definitely really enjoy that. And they're kind of, I guess you could say, like sisters in terms of that experience. But she has an even closer connection to one of my more recent guests, which is the hair maven, Kay Fluellen, which is actually her aunt. And we're going to drop a link for her interview as well, which was fantabulous. And I met the Fluellen family many, many years ago. Her uncle contacted me about wanting to use my work on the cover of their magazine. I was like, wow. And so I actually ended up traveling to Dallas and meeting not only Ed, but his mother, Mary Fluellen, who started a salon, Fluellen's, that is still thriving after 50 years. And we share a lot of that in the interview I did with Kay. But this young lady here is the granddaughter of Mary Fluellen. And so when I found that out, it was like, wow, kind of serendipity. But since then, her life and her career have taken some different turns, and she's now a health mentor for women. And today, she's going to help us get out of burnout, get back to balance, and position us to win for in our mind, body, and spirit for 2022. So I'm super excited to have her. I'm excited that you guys are here. If you're here for the first time, I say thank you and welcome. And I hope that you'll enjoy this and subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our next interviews and the salon business tips that I'm sharing each and every Monday. And if you are returning, we definitely say thank you. So appreciate you being here. And each and every week on Beauty Superstars Talk, I get the privilege to meet with some of the best and brightest beauty, Black beauty bosses who are doing amazing things in the industry. And they share their story, help inspire us, and actually drop nuggets to help us become better beauty pros as well as better entrepreneurs. And this month's topic is on health, wealth, and playing bigger. So we are starting this year off really strong. And this is actually more than a podcast, but we're actually here as a movement. We want to celebrate Black excellence. We want to encourage entrepreneurship, preserve our history, and bring healing to our industry. And so we are sponsored today by the Beauty Biz U, and that is the fastest way to go from zero to $1,000 to build a solid clientele and get your salon or salon suite really in great shape. So we invite you to check that out at on our Beauty Superstars page and beautysuperstars.com. And so, with that, it's like I am going to just share a brief bio from Anna, and we are just going to dive right in. So, welcome, Anna. I'm
Thank you.
so glad to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. You're right. It's like a full circle moment considering how we know each other in so many different ways.
Absolutely. It's like it's kind of crazy, really.
It really is.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, let me share with them and we'll jump in. So, Coach Anna is a former hair loss practitioner who has transitioned into a health mentor for women who are ready to live, look, and feel better. After reversing her feminine health conditions holistically, chronic stress, fatigue, hormone imbalance, weight gain, she has been on a journey supporting women through transitioning into a healthier lifestyle. So, we are super happy to have you here. So, welcome.
I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I always like to start like, how did you even get started in the beauty industry? Obviously, you had some great role models along the way.
Yes. Well, you said it. So my grandmother is Mary Llewellyn. So I am a third, fourth generation hairstylist, actually. My grandmother had the hair salon, and I started with and under the mentorship of my aunt, Karen Llewellyn. And what started as a summer job, I wanted to get out of the house during the summertime, and she said I could answer the phones and sweep, and that sound. And I was like maybe 13. It sounded perfect. Like, okay, I can get to hang out at the beauty shop. It's so much fun. I love being there. Let's do it. And I really developed a passion for hair and the industry and realized I had a natural just hack. I was really good at it, a knack
Mhm.
for it. And so that happened the summer of my seventh grade year. Well, fast forward to my eighth grade year, a local high school came and did a presentation, and they offered cosmetology at a local high school not far from where I was attending middle school. So, based on my family's background in the industry, all the time I was spending at the beauty shop, it made sense for me to go to cosmetology school in the ninth grade. So I started earning my license at 14. And by the time I graduated high school, I was licensed. So it happened really organically, really quickly. So I was able to follow in my family's footsteps very early. And I knew that that's just what I wanted to do. And I just love the atmosphere. I love the salon. I love the industry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's pretty phenomenal. It's like to have that, like you say, kind of really organic, just okay, this showed up and this is here, and it's like, okay, and everything's flowing. Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about the competition, Soft Sheen, Make Me a Master Stylist. And
Wow, you brought back such great memories. So, I was working at a salon in Austin after I graduated high school. I went to college in Austin, and of course, I continued in the industry, and I worked at a local salon in Austin. And I was really anxious very early on to build my career and step outside of just Austin. I had this urge and this passion. I wanted to be on a national platform. Social media was just becoming a thing, and I was seeing all of these amazing stylists, and I was like, okay, so how do I get there? And I saw an ad, I believe in Hype Hair or either Sophisticate's Black Hair magazine for the Make Me a Master Stylist competition. And I said it wouldn't hurt to just throw my name in and enter. And I did. And lo and behold, I won first place. I was so shocked. I was so shocked, but I was so excited. So I did it as in an effort to continue to grow my platform and to grow my platform and my reach, really as an artist.
okay, okay. And so, what was it like when you did win?
Unbelievable. So of course, I got this awesome mentorship from you, which was perfect timing because I was transitioning back to Dallas. And wanted to open my own studio. So it was perfect timing. I also got that amazing trip to DC, and I developed such a great relationship with Johnny and Yanae, which they are just so giving and so passionate. And so
Mhm.
Johnny continued to reach out even after. After the whole competition, and we, like I said, developed a great relationship. We got that amazing tour of the White House at the time when the Obamas were actually in the White House. So that was huge. It was major. I did develop some really great friendships with Marjorie. Like, you put her back on the top of my mind, and I'm like, I need to reach out to Marjorie. But the entire experience was so much more than just building a platform. It was building relationships, and this
Mhm.
industry is not what you know, it's who you know. So being able to build such amazing relationships and connections meant so much to me at an early stage in my career.
Yeah, wow. You're absolutely right. It is so much about relationships, whether it's the relationships we form with our clients, the relationships that we're, building as we build a platform, or the relationships, individually, and that mentorship and support, and just, even being able to have conversations with like-minded people can be so valuable. Yeah. So after winning and after getting back home and off of the high and everything, how would you say it like shaped or transformed your career?
I thought so much bigger than I did before.
Mhm,
I loved having and being a part of a family business, but that's all I knew. And
mhm,
so winning that competition and even just experiencing the industry outside of Dallas, outside of Texas, and
mhm,
meeting stylists from other states and at other stages in their career.
mhm.
Johnny was at the height of his career. He
Right.
was everywhere and on everything. Yanae was building and growing under Johnny. We're closer in age, so she gave me such great feedback. And then, of course, you were just a book of wisdom as well in terms of building your career behind the chair and building a business. So I think for me, it allowed me to think bigger outside of Texas, outside of
Mhm.
Dallas, which has carried me. And I mean, that mindset, I think, has carried me even beyond the chair. So it shifted my mindset for sure.
Wow.
Definitely shifted my mindset.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. So if anybody's like sitting on the fence, maybe I should do something, maybe I should do something, just jump in there and do it and just kind of see what happens, because I think, like you say, that it changed the course in a sense of your
Yes.
career. Yeah.
I would be remiss without just shouting out Mosaic Jefferson. I
Oh,
mean,
yes.
he orchestrated and coordinated everything behind the scenes and
Mhm.
continued to pull me into projects. And I still reach out to Mosaic for advice. So he's been such an amazing mentor as well. So again, it's just the relationships, people at different stages and phases in the industry. And I think in positions that I had never thought about before. Like, I'd never thought about the industry in a corporate from a
Right.
corporate perspective. I've never thought about the industry in terms of outside of a celebrity stylist, but a stylist for political figures. Like, I'd never thought about it like that. So it shifted my mindset for what was possible in the industry and beyond too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad you brought up Maze. It's like it's the reason he's the reason that I was actually part of it. And so I was like, I too am extremely grateful. And I had the opportunity to interview him as well. And it's like, so if you guys are looking for, like you said, another avenue in the industry, it's like this industry is so big and so diverse. And a lot of times, as stylists in particular, because that's my background, it's like we can tend to go to the salon, go home, go back to the salon, go back home. And there's like this great big world out there and we don't even know about it. So yes, it's like definitely watch his um his interview, because it's like he's really all about lifting people up and elevating people to the next level. And just, he said something like, it's like when you get your foot in the door, your seat at the table, then your job is to open it for others. And so definitely it's like he lives that. So thank you for for bringing him up, because it's like it's definitely the reason, like I said, the reason I was part of that event was from Maze. So thank you.
Love Mosaic.
Yeah, yeah, it's like absolutely wonderful. And so from the time that we met, it's like you did open up your studio. So you were a salon owner. Tell us what that experience was like.
It was a roller coaster.
Okay.
I learned so much though. I was very young and I guess I'm very adventurous. Once I decide that I want to do something, it's like, well, why can't I? Like, let's do it. Let's figure it out. Let's make it happen. So my very first salon, I love to tell the story. It closed in 6 months. My very first
Mhm.
salon was not successful. I had the space, I had the furniture, I had the mindset, but I didn't have the business foundations in terms of marketing, in terms of building a team, in terms of
Mhm.
building a clientele for a team. And so it closed. I was locked out of it in about 6 months.
Oh,
And
wow.
honestly, it was devastating, but it taught me so, so much. And sometimes experience is the best teacher. So while it was hard, I had to bounce back. I learned and so much, and it made me so determined. I think having a family business was a blessing because my grandmother had laid the foundation. Everybody in the city and the nation knew the name of the salon. And I thought that, once you open the doors, like that just happens, right? Like it just comes with the territory. And that's not how it works. You definitely have to brand, market yourself, build a clientele, and set yourself apart. So it gave me that lesson. I
Mhm.
learned it the hard way, but I'm very thankful for it because now I love all things branding and marketing, which is so important no matter if you're behind the chair, if you own the salon, or if you're just branding and marketing yourself as a platform artist. Is such a big part of building your business. So my first salon taught me everything I needed to know for my second salon.
Okay.
And my second salon did really, really well. It was good hair and company. I love extensions. I loved wigs. I loved weaves. And so it was an extensions bar. And I put so much more effort into branding and marketing and building than I did decorating it. And it was everything that I wanted it to be while I had the run with it. So the first one was hard, but I was very thankful for it because it set me up for what I needed for the second salon.
Right, right. Yeah, it also sounds like you have a new respect for your grandmother and what she started and built, and keeping going for 50 years is like unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's a day and night, right? You're married to it. You're constantly pouring into it. You're
Mhm.
constantly pouring passion into it, and it's not as easy as it looks. And so I definitely did gain a different level of respect for what she was able to build and what's been maintained.
Right, right. Yeah, yes, absolutely phenomenal. And then the other part I don't want to skip over because I am a salon business coach is like that everybody focuses on. It's like, oh, we're gonna have the cutest chairs and the mirrors are gonna be like this and this plant is gonna be over here. And it's like, yeah.
So cute. I had white shampoo chairs, had a beautiful seating area. We were painting. I was trying to get new floors, and
Right.
nobody knew I existed.
Okay.
Nobody ever saw the dryer area because
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I learned a very valuable lesson.
Yeah, yeah, it's like definitely I try to steer people when they are looking at it to make sure that, it's almost like the big focus being on the wedding and not the marriage. It's like,
Yes,
oh, we're gonna have, this many bridesmaids and this will be the dessert and the cake flavor is this and
yes.
all of those things. It's like, okay, but there's gonna be a marriage after the wedding. So it's like,
There's so much more after that.
yeah,
Great analogy, and that is spot on. That's exactly what it's like.
okay. Yep. So it's like we gotta build it, and I love that you touched on the marketing and branding piece because I think that's so big. And we just did an interview with Jessica Kidd with House of Bombshell, and it's like she
Okay.
gave us a phenomenal masterclass on marketing and branding and all of that. That's really like it's like as we are in 2022 and really kind of whatever you want to call it a new normal. It's like we've got to get more focused in those areas. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
definitely key. And for you, it's like, from what I know, it's like you moved into trichology from opening your studio. So tell us what led you there.
So Johnny, honestly, again, little spark. Johnny recommended a client to me, and it was she was wearing a cranial prosthesis. It was a very high end hairpiece, which led me to train with a celebrity hairpiece designer.
Okay.
He was designing high end cranial prosthesis, which is beyond a wig that you would hand make. It's a wig where you take the measurements. It's typically made of a different base. You use different types of adhesives. And the client wears it for 4 to 6 to 8 weeks because they have extreme hair loss. So
Mhm.
my connections with Johnny connected me with someone else who opened this world of luxury hair pieces. And again, I love hair. You can never have too much. So I was like, oh my God, this is the next phase for me. And so I took the class with June, was his name. I took the class in California to learn how he was applying hair pieces to bring that back to Texas. And as I started to see clients, what I learned was they were women who looked like me, typically in their 30s, 40s, 50s, very professional women, very educated women who had extreme hair loss. And it was hair loss in a way that I had not seen before as a general stylist behind the chair. And so I felt an inkling, like I'm really big on my intuition, and I just could not rest with applying these hair pieces. And these women had hair loss, and I couldn't tell them why they were losing their hair. They all wanted to know, is it growing back? Is it getting better? And I had to be honest every time they came and say it, not, it's not. And so I felt like I wanted to be equipped with the why so that I could help them. So I studied with Evie Johnson, who is amazing. She is I like to call her an OG in the industry. She's just, I mean, she's been around for forever. She's such a wealth of knowledge. And so I took her trichology hair practitioner course. It was a 3-day course, and you learned all about hair loss and body chemistry. And that connection was really a light bulb and aha moment for me to understand how different processes in the body internally, how they were showing up for my clients externally in the form of hair loss. I loved reading, I love information, so it just became a rabbit hole. So Johnny opened the door for me, and I took it and I ran with it.
Wow, wow. Well, that's phenomenal because I think the rise of female hair loss is just continuing. It's not something, it was a smaller population and it just keeps growing and growing. And so I think even as regular behind the chair hairstylists that we've got to get a little bit more well versed with what's going on, like you say, with the body inside, which is creating some of these challenges that we're seeing on the hair and head.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so important because clients look to us as the expert. And a lot of times, especially if you have those regulars that come every week, every 2 weeks, and
Right.
barely even do more than just wrap their hair at home. They don't shampoo it, they don't relax it. We're there behind the chair experts. They're definitely looking to us for answers.
Hmm.
And so I felt like I wanted to at least be able to provide some
Hmm.
type of answer. And you're right, it is on the rise, especially, and women are there. I mean, they're younger. Like I said, I'm seeing women in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, and it was just eye opening for me.
Yeah, yeah. So any suggestions to a hairstylist who may be servicing that client, every week, every 2 weeks or whatever, and they're starting to notice from their vantage point that there's like maybe some thinning starting to happen?
Yes. My
How should they approach that conversation? Sorry.
No, no worries. The first thing I would suggest is that they educate themselves so that they can answer and really reassure their clients from a place where they're confident. Even if it's not a 3-day course, there are so many books. Everything is virtual now with COVID. So there are so many e learning courses where you can just learn about the foundations of hair loss and different types of alopecia. I think it's really, really important. Just having a foundational understanding of alopecia, even if you're researching it online yourself, so that you understand as you're sharing that information with your client. And then, two, being honest.
Mhm.
It was not always and is not always an easy conversation to have to tell a woman that she's losing her hair. I feel like you have two types of clients. You have one type of client that is open, and they're open to receive the information and they're ready to do something about it. And then sometimes you have those clients that aren't open to receiving the information, and it is a difficult conversation to have. But think about it like your doctor. Your doctor is honest with you about your health, regardless of how you feel, because it's information that you need to move forward in a different way. So,
Mhm.
educating yourself and then being honest. I always start the conversation with, are you open? I ask my clients, are you open? It might not be an easy conversation, to make sure that they're prepped for the conversation that we're about to have. And I try to have it as discreetly as possible. I try not to have the conversation in front of everybody very loudly, because that doesn't feel good. So I check to make sure they're open. I try to have it as discreetly as possible and to be as educated as possible.
Yeah, those are wonderful tips. So I hope anybody, that's maybe seeing something, because a lot of times we're seeing something if they're coming to us on a regular basis, maybe before they can see something,
Yeah.
because they can't see the back of their head if that's where it's starting at the top. And so we do need to inform them and, potentially create some other, processes, treatments, or what have you, to help remedy the situation, but to also maybe inform them that they need to maybe see a medical professional, or someone like yourself, like a health mentor or trichologist, to get more of what's going on and make some decisions from there. So, yeah, it's like that's wonderful and very caring. It's like we want to do it in a caring and professional manner. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to be gentle. You want to handle, I try to handle them with kid gloves, because, like I said, it's a tough conversation, especially if I'm the first one to bring it to your attention. And I
Right.
love that you touched on alternative treatments. Sometimes the style or the process that we're offering to our guests may not be the best process moving forward. If you have alopecia in your crown, maybe a relaxer. Maybe we should discontinue relaxing your hair. Maybe we should stretch your relaxers from 6 weeks to 8 weeks to 10 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
having conversations and creating alternative treatment plans for your clients, because again, they're looking to us as the experts. So being able to offer that, whether it's a deep conditioner or maybe we hold off on the extensions for a while and try
Mhm.
something different, like they're looking to us for that plan B.
Right, right. Yeah. So spot on. I think that's so really good that we don't have to keep doing the same thing we've been doing, that we can
Yeah.
shift and make it better for our clients. So definitely. And I did want to just say also, it's like I've gotten to interview Evie as well on the show, and she is phenomenal. It's like, and it's like a lot of us, and I'm a big believer in specializing and really, going deep with what you're doing. But it's like she like specializes in everything.
He does, and does it so well.
Exactly, exactly. And so the depth is there, the width and the knowledge and everything. And it's like, and she's definitely a dynamo. So yeah, so we'll
And she looks
drop her
great,
link
she
as well.
works out, she body builds. I'm like, "How
Right.
do you do this?"
Yep, she's pretty phenomenal, a superwoman, I think.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So tell us, it's like leading from your salon ownership, into the hair and extensions, into the custom units, and the cranial prosthesis, into trichology, and how did you land with becoming a health mentor?
So around, right, when you put it that way, I'm like, it has been a journey, right?
Okay.
Around the same time that I began training with Evie and really customizing in the luxury hair pieces, my mom's health was declining. She was diagnosed with dementia very early,
Mhm.
and my health was declining. I wasn't feeling great. And I like to say that I knew I wasn't sick. I knew I didn't have like a chronic disease, but I also just did not feel like myself. Behind the chair life can be all day. It can be a 10-hour day. It can be a 12-hour day. You skip lunch. You're balancing 3 or 4 clients. Like, I used to thrive on this lifestyle. I was the queen of double booking. I could do 4 or 5 installs in a day. I loved it. And all of a sudden I stopped having the energy to be able to do that. I started gaining weight, which I've always just naturally been very petite. And I started to gain weight in a way that just was not normal for me, even though my eating had not changed tremendous, like it wasn't tremendously different. So my energy was changing. I was gaining weight and I just felt moody. I could not pinpoint it, but I knew something was off. And I had a pain in my foot. Now, as hairstylists, our feet hurt at the end of the day. We have different aches and pains because we work and give with our body. But my feet, they began to hurt in a way that no matter how much I rested, even on Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays when I wasn't behind the chair, I still had this pain in my foot. And this pain and aches and swellings, I was only 20, I was like 27. So I knew it wasn't normal. And I wanted to know what was going on with my body. I just had all of these symptoms all of a sudden at the same time. I'm watching my mom's health decline. She's very young, and I'm seeing women who are sitting in my chair with similar symptoms who also have extreme hair loss, women of color specifically. And I think that there's this notion that if you're professional and educated and middle class and upper class, that these things almost don't apply to you. Like when you think of being sick or not being well, that's not who you think of. And this is what I'm seeing every day. So I just started to connect the dots and realize that something deeper is going on. And more than anything for myself, I wanted to feel better. So again, I love to read. I love research. Evie's class had taught me that external is just a reflection of internal. So I started with that as my foundation. And I started to read and research to understand what was really going on with my body. And it's so funny. It honestly began with an esthetician at Sephora. So one of the worst symptoms that I had dark circles under my eyes, but I was also using Big Red to get me through the day at the salon. I didn't like coffee, so I was drinking soda. And I was drinking a lot of soda because I needed that caffeine kick to get me through the 4 or 5 sew-ins in a day. And I started to develop dark circles under my eyes because my liver and kidneys could not they were not functioning very well. I wasn't drinking enough water. They couldn't filter the caffeine in the soda. And so I went to Sephora to get a different concealer because I'm like, my concealer is not doing its job. I have these dark circles. And she said, it's actually your liver. Like, it's not your concealer, it's your liver. And an aha moment because of what I'd learned from Evie, I said, that makes so much sense. So again, I started to dig deeper. I started to research and realize I had a hormone imbalance. Your liver's process your hormones. So between the soda and the hormone imbalance, my liver was working double time. And I started to take supplements specifically for my liver and kidneys. And in about 2 weeks, the dark circles started to disappear. So that was again an aha moment. So I dug deeper and I wanted to understand my hormones because remember, I'm gaining weight, I have acne, I don't have as much energy, and I have this pain that's also keeping me from working as often as I need to. So I started to dig deeper and read to understand hormone balance for women because I was convinced that I was menopausal. Like I was young, but I had menopausal symptoms, to be honest. And I learned that my hormones were imbalanced, specifically my estrogen and progesterone, and that it was very common for women and it was very easy to treat if you change how you ate. So I was desperate. I wanted to feel better. I'm not a huge proponent of prescriptions. Again, my mom's health is declining. My clients are taking prescriptions that are causing hair loss. So I'm like, can't take heavy prescriptions. I don't want to lose my hair. So I changed how I ate. I transitioned to a vegan plant based lifestyle. I started juicing and buying fresh juices every day. And in about 21 days, I looked and felt very, very, very different. I felt like myself again. And so it transitioned from a career perspective because I was seeing women who were having similar symptoms. And, you know, behind the chair, you're a therapist, you're a nutritionist, you're a best friend, like you're everything behind the
Right.
chair. So my clients started asking me, what are you doing? You look different. I can tell something's different. So I started sharing with them what I was doing just out of, you know, hey, try this supplement instead of this prescription and try this juice if you're having this issue. And they started seeing results as well.
Mm.
So I felt like a different door opened for me because they then started asking me, well, if I shouldn't be eating this, what should I eat? So I have hair loss. You're doing a great job with my hair, but I'm more interested in this energy that you have. I'm more interested in this vitality that you're feeling. What should I eat? And I didn't feel equipped to give them nutrition advice without nutritional training.
Okay.
So I felt like I needed to learn more because I mean, I had the audience of women in my chair coming to see me who more than anyone needed nutritional advice. So I
Mhm.
wanted to learn how to give them proper nutrition advice and guidance.
Wow. Okay. Well, that even your personal journey is quite a journey. And I have a feeling a lot of hairstylists can identify with it because, like you said, we have the long hours, the standing and using our bodies all the time. A lot of times, because we're good at what we do, it's because we think of others kind of first.
Yes.
And so we like, oh, well, yeah, come on in, So
Take you last minute, you work late, you work early, you know,
right,
you only have really Sunday off because Monday you're prepping for Tuesday.
right, right.
I mean, God bless the stylists that actually schedule lunch breaks. I was never that stylist who would block off time on my books for an actual lunch break. Like I'm so impressed by the stylists that do. So lunch breaks, you just eat whatever you can really quickly if you eat it all. So I know a lot of stylists reach a point where they also start to feel a shift in their health because it's just a part of the industry. It's a part of the day to day.
Yeah, yeah, which is why, it's like, particularly with my luxury hairstylist blueprint, it's like we need to shift that completely, where we're not doing those, early mornings and late nights and
Yeah,
stretching and accommodating and all that kind of stuff. It's like make it so it can work for us. So we can be at our best because it's like, are we our most creative when we don't feel so great or when, we haven't eaten,
when you're hangry, like you
Yeah,
can't
exactly. It's like,
great
oh.
customer service if you're hangry. It's real.
It is, and so it's like I think to give our best, it's like we need to be at our best, and so
Absolutely.
yeah. So talk to the hairstylists that are behind the chair, with maybe a few tips of what we can think about making changes to.
Ooh, I love it. If I could go back, let's say 10 years ago and have a conversation with Anna behind the chair, thinking forward about her health, I would say one, like you said, prioritize yourself. My grandmother was a hard worker, my aunt was a hard worker, and I saw how profitable it was to be a hard worker behind the chair very early on. I saw how profitable it could be on a Saturday to work all day on a Saturday.
Right.
So I feel like it's a habit I built. And so I had to unlearn the habit. So learning to prioritize yourself first by having business hours, by having that lunch break built into your day, by having those 15, 20-minute breaks built into your day if you can, by having an assistant so that everything is not falling on you and you're able to take care of yourself. Because one, I think you have more longevity in the industry when you're healthier. It's hard to have a 40, 50-year career if you're starting to feel burned out in your 30s, in your 40s, right? But then also from a customer service and doing your best work and clients referring other clients to you, it's based on how you feel. And the service that you're able to provide is definitely based on giving to yourself first. So prioritizing yourself and
Mhm.
having boundaries. I did not have boundaries behind the chair as a salon owner because I didn't understand the importance of those boundaries. So that's really important. And then, two, think ahead in terms of what you're going to eat. I would typically grab breakfast on the way to work, like a breakfast taco or, a drive through situation. If I had a quick break or my client was under the dryer, or I would send somebody to get me something to eat for lunch, and then I would eat out for dinner because the salon was doing so well. If you're a great stylist or a great salon owner, the better you are, the busier you are.
Right.
So I was eating out 3 times a day. And as my salon was growing, I was eating out more. And I didn't realize it until my body started to tell me this isn't working for us. So think ahead about what you're going to eat. That's meal planning on a Sunday, like meal planning lunch. So you can take lunch to work if that's employing a meal planning or meal prepping type service in the area. Just thinking ahead about what you're going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or even taking a gallon or bottle of water to work with you so
Mhm.
that you are a little bit more thoughtful about eating healthier and even just taking the time to eat at And then thirdly, take care of your body. We use our body, we use our hands, our arms, our legs, our muscles again throughout our career. And the better you are, the busier you are. So finding time for movement, even if it's not, even if you're not like Evie and you're not a bodybuilder, even if it's yoga or just moving 3 times a week for 30 minutes, even if it's just walking, finding ways to move and stretch your body so that you're good to your body because we use it more than most industries. So really taking care of yourself before you take care of your clients is so important.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was fabulous. It's like, like really like the masterclass piece, really looking at lifestyle. And I know, like you mentioned, the eating out after work, and it's like when I was really doing a lot, it's like there was one place that was open late, and
Yep.
looking back, at it some years later, I was like, I've left a lot of money in here. It's
Yes, it's also very expensive. Same. I was eating at the same Italian restaurant every night because
Mhm.
they were open late. I knew what I could order. My husband could, it was down the street. He'd run and go get it. And I was eating spaghetti and meatballs every night.
Okay.
No salad, no vegetables, no water, spaghetti,
Mhm.
meatballs, and Big Red every day.
Okay.
So you're right. You end up spending so much more money eating out 3 times a day or twice a day,
Yeah.
especially late at night.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like it's kind of crazy that we don't make the connection to, spaghetti, meatballs, and what would you call Red Bull is, or yeah, Big Reds, and not thinking that there was going to be a repercussion on the other
It
end.
never crossed my mind
Right.
because honestly, my body was able to maintain for so long. I did it throughout my early 20s, but that was college. Like, who can live the same way in college in their 30s? So,
Right.
it worked. Starbucks and croissants worked for me for so long that it never crossed my mind that,
Mhm.
there would be, like you said, a consequence to it until there was.
Right, right, right. And it sounds like you were tuned in to like kind of listen and catch some of these things along the way earlier than some of us. Some of
Yeah.
us are like, oh, well, I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
I got a full book today, so I'm just going to make it through.
You just got to keep. And I think my grandmother, Mary Fluellen, had multiple strokes,
Mm,
and I never knew the cause of them, but I knew it had to do with stress and being busy. So that was always in the back of my mind.
mm,
And then my mom was in her 50s. Having dementia in your 50s is unheard of. So
mm,
for me, I wanted to understand what my body was telling me because I'd seen the major women in my life, I'd seen their health decline
mm,
very quickly, very early. And more than anything, I knew I wanted a different quality of life. So I think it scared me. It scared me
mm,
more than
mm.
anything in the moment. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope someone watching will kind of take that, it's like, and, it's like, oh, well, this has been going on, and maybe this,
Yeah.
and take a stop, a pause to
Yeah.
say, like, well, why is this going on? And start to think about getting some answers early on because, even like we were talking about hair loss, it's much easier to treat hair loss in the beginning stages
Yes.
than it is as it progresses. And most things that have to do with our body, it's like they're progressive. So
Exactly.
once they start, they don't go backwards unless we take some different actions. They keep going, keep going. And I guess Oprah said, like, do you need a pebble or do you need a brick?
Mm.
And, and
That's so
so,
true. I like to say that symptoms, physical symptoms, mental symptoms, emotional symptoms are signals that something deeper is going on. It's, symptoms can be scary. So a lot of times we avoid them because we don't want to deal with what they really mean. But you're right. If you deal with them early on, it's just a signal or a sign that you need to shift something in your lifestyle or your diet. So symptoms are actually a gift
right.
because they're communication from your body that we need to look at doing something a little differently.
That's beautiful. Beautifully said. So, yeah. So, with your career change, tell us, what that actually looks like. What's your day to day like now that you're not behind the chair, correct?
I'm not behind the chair, and I think I still get FOMO sometimes. Not behind the chair. I think once you're a stylist, you're always a stylist. So because of COVID, largely my services are offered virtually.
Mhm.
So I have a 90-day detox program called Flow. It's my signature program. It's available online. Everything is available in a membership portal. So as clients reach out to work with me, unless they need one-on-one specific, like a customized meal plan, the majority of my clients are enrolled in Flow. So I have this tribe or community of women that I love to support, and we're all on a journey to learn how to eat differently and live a little differently. I also love working in the community. So I am expecting and made the decision to have the baby at a birthing center.
Mhm.
And they reached out and asked me to help their expecting mothers who have gestational diabetes. So I get to work with them. So I love, it's like once women hear and understand what I do, everyone needs answers and help and support. So I like working with local churches and local organizations in the community. And then I love educating online. I love, like, I can talk about this all day, every day. So I love offering the information online because I think I like making it available. I think it's really important to make this information available because it's not openly available. And there may be something that I share that could be that light bulb moment or that aha moment for somebody else that starts their journey. So although the majority of my services are virtual, I still try to make myself as present as possible to continue to just offer the information and offer answers.
Yeah, that's phenomenal because we really do need that, and we don't necessarily like know where to turn,
Yes,
and who has the answers. And like, this is an online world that we're in, and so there's information overload, and you still don't
yes.
have answers. And so,
Yes, that is so true. Every celebrity has a cookbook. Dr. Oz has a new diet every week. Your best friend is trying a new diet every week. So it's like,
right.
what's really healthy? What do I really do? So I like to say that I like to help women understand the root cause of what they're dealing with. A lot of times the information that we get is a band-aid. It's a band-aid on the problem and it's a short-term fix, where if we understand and understood how we got here, then you're able to make that shift or make that change for a more long-term lifestyle change and a long-term solution. So I like to educate on the real root cause,
Mhm.
and less of offering the band-aids.
Right, right. Yeah, and with the women that you see interact with or what have you, it's like, we were talking about different feminine issues, like you talked about the hormone imbalance, and um, you know, things like PCOS and that type of
Yeah,
thing can be contributors to hair loss and
yes,
that type of thing, high blood pressure. And,
yes.
so what are the things that you're seeing that women are dealing with specifically, that some of these lifestyle changes, you've seen have an impact?
I'm so happy that you asked that question, because you're absolutely right. I call them feminine health issues because I believe that diseases, we give designer names to diseases and we get so caught up in having a disease. I have PCOS, like, and you have this mindset that you'll never be able to live without it, or I have fibroids, or I have, versus it's a condition or a state in your body that you can change, you can impact, you can affect it. So I call them feminine wellness issues rather than speaking to particular diseases, because I try to really help impact that
Mhm.
mindset change. But you're right. A lot of my clients have hormone imbalances. Hormone imbalances lead to these diseases like fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, depression, anxiety. Even if you don't have a menstrual issue, but you have very long menstrual cycles that are lasting, 10 days, 2 weeks, 21 days. A lot of my clients, older clients, have high blood pressure, diabetes, or very difficult menopausal symptoms that are changing their quality of life. They reach their 50s, they reach their 60s, and they just feel like a totally different woman and they can't really control the symptoms.
Mhm.
So we figure out what's imbalanced, what's become imbalanced. Do you have a vitamin deficiency or a mineral deficiency, which is likely the cause, or do you have a hormone imbalance? And maybe you have both. And so between the two, we try and really pinpoint what's deficient, what's imbalanced, and we resupply anything that you need in terms of your vitamins, nutrients, and minerals, and then try and rebalance your hormones holistically.
Mhm.
So a lot of times that hair loss, those hot flashes, that depression, that very long, challenging menstrual cycle is again a sign or symptom that there is a deeper imbalance. So it's a long-term solution, right? It's a
Mhm.
relationship. I'm definitely in it to win it with my clients because it's a lifestyle change,
Right.
but it helps to impact menopause and impact, menstrual challenges where you're not just impacting your hot flashes, you're impacting your energy level and how you feel and your hair loss and your weight, so
Mhm.
that the next 20 years of your life look and feel totally different. And I
Mhm.
think what was so alarming for me when I first got started is that women of color face these issues more than any other community. Younger, we also face these issues younger than any other community. I was so shocked to begin to see women in their late 20s, 30s who were again moving up in their career, assistant principals, principals, CEOs, VPs in their 30s, doing very well, buying houses, building houses, but on a number of depression medications.
Yeah.
So I call them feminine wellness issues because, again, I like to really support that mindset change, but specifically for women of color between the ages of 30 and 60, because that's who it's impacting the most.
Mm. Wow. It's like, and you said so much there, but one of the things, like you say, with people of color, women of color, it's like that we are impacted so much more from a lot of those different, wellness issues for sure. So, do does science know of causes why that's the case?
That's a loaded question, Mickey.
I'm just wondering, with your studies and that type of thing, but
They
yeah, it's like,
do. They do. Here's the challenge. A lot of it is linked to our food and what we eat. The food that we eat in America specifically is an industry. There's really no other place on the planet where food is marketed as heavily, is
Mhm.
such an industry, is lobbied as heavily, and it is policed as loosely, right? So what we eat is such a big industry in America that it is almost a catch 22. Science has researched and shown and made the link and connection to food, but we're not able to pinpoint and call out those foods because it's a backbone of America's economy. So a
Mhm.
lot of times when you go to the doctor, one, doctors don't receive, they receive maybe 3 to 5 hours of nutritional counseling, therapy, education. So doctors aren't nutritionists, right? So they can't necessarily make the link. And then the FDA stands for Food and Drug Administration. So the Food and Drug Administration are one and the same. So it's almost speaking bad about your own business, which what business owner does that? So
Mhm.
while there have been links and research for years and years and years at esteemed educational institutions about the Lincoln connection,
Mhm.
it's almost kept under wraps because it's such a big part of our economy, just the food industry.
Yeah, wow.
Very loaded question.
Yes. We don't wanna get banned, right?
Exactly, exactly. So, I try to approach it again with kid gloves, but one on one, I'm very honest with my
Mhm.
clients. And sometimes it's like how often you're eating what you're eating and less of what you're eating. So, really approaching their diet individually to understand the full impact of their diet because we all have our favorites. Again, mine was Big Red. So, my liver was impacted because I was drinking too much caffeine. Some of
Mhm.
my clients love cheese and can't live without it, and they eat it 3 and 4 times a day, and their cycles are impacted because of that one food. So it's sometimes less of what you're eating and how often and in what
Right.
quantity you're eating
Yeah,
what you're eating too. That plays
that makes
a part.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because our bodies can handle so much, but then it's like, "Okay,
Exactly.
wait a minute now."
Too much of anything is not a good thing, right?
Right,
So,
right.
exactly. Yes.
Like you said, we have our favorites and our comfort foods and all of that kinda stuff.
Go-tos. Yes, yes. So, yes, but there has been research. You can research all of this, and I actually encourage women to begin to research. That was one of the first things I did was I put all my symptoms into Google, and I was so
Mhm.
shocked that so many articles popped up with the connection between all of my symptoms. So initially, what I thought I was dealing with 5 or 6 different issues, I'd scheduled an appointment with the endocrinologist. I'd scheduled an appointment with the podiatrist for the pain in my foot.
Hmm.
I'd scheduled an appointment with the dermatologist for the acne. So I had 3 or 4 different appointments when everything was connected. And that was really shocking for me too. So I encourage my clients to research, even if it's Google or Pinterest, because there are women and there are doctors and gynos and professors that have written articles about all of this, and it's available
Wow.
online.
That's really, really good to know. Really good to know. So tell us how we can follow you, because I think there's
Yes.
people probably wanting to get some more information. And so,
Follow me and join what I call my tribe in a few ways. I am most active on Instagram and Facebook. The handle is at Coach Anna Rhoden. And then you can also follow me on my website at www.readyforwellness.com. I offer a free, what I call wellness seminar. It's about an hour long, and it explains the root causes that really are linked to most feminine wellness issues. So, that article that I told you to go out and research, I condensed it into a webinar, and it's available online on my website. That is the best way to join the tribe and the community. I go live every Sunday at 6 p.m. with the new episode of Flow. It's a Facebook Live series for women of color with feminine wellness issues. We cover a range of topics. Sometimes I'm in the kitchen cooking, sometimes I am deep diving in terms of a specific symptom. So that's every Sunday at Coach Anna Rhoda on Facebook Live.
awesome. Okay. And you said 6 p.m. Is that Eastern, Central,
Thank you. You know,
Central
I'm
time?
bad. I'm working on my life and the time zones. It's
Okay.
Central Standard Time
Okay. Okay. So 6 Central, 7 Eastern, and that would be 4 on the West
on
Coast.
the West Coast. Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. You're absolutely right. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I know we have people watching from all over, and maybe other countries as well, but you'll have to convert it from there. But 6 p.m. Central on Sundays.
And if you miss it live, we're building out the YouTube site. It'll actually be
Um,
done, ready to pull the trigger on Sunday. So all of the Facebook Live episodes, if you miss it live, they stay up on Facebook, of course, but they'll also be available on the YouTube channel, which is also Coach Anna Rhoden. So you can always catch the replay, slow it down, take notes. So that's always a resource as well.
okay. Yeah, that sounds great. So, in addition to the YouTube, what's next for Coach Anna?
So I wrote a wellness guide and cookbook that I'm really, really excited about. I wanted to combine the information, what to eat, and recipes that you could get started with in a really easy to understand, almost entertaining, informational wellness guide, instead of like this really long medical textbook that who's reading through that, right? So it's
Right.
called Ready for Wellness. It's available on Amazon. So I'm very excited about that. One of my favorite things to do is to be in the kitchen and to cook. You cannot change your lifestyle without cooking. And so
Mhm.
most women want to eat differently, but don't understand what to eat. So what you'll find really come us focusing in 2022 in terms of content online in person will really be cooking instructionals, recipes, what to eat, where to buy it, what do I cook, how often to eat it, what supplements to take, what herbs to use at home. Really, really, really informing and arming women with what to eat and how to prepare it so that it tastes good.
Mhm.
I love to say it's food that reminds you of what your grandmother used to cook. It's just a healthier version of it for you because a lot of women also have kids and husbands, significant
Right.
others, nieces, nephews, kids that they're raising. And the feedback that I get is I can eat this for me, but I don't want to cook 2 meals. What do I cook for my husband? What do I cook for my kids? So, recipes that are healthier versions of what we love to eat that you can really, really use for your entire family.
Mhm.
And then if 2022 will let us be great, we will take this show on the road. One of the things that I did in 2020 was I would have what I call they were wellness dinner parties. So it was a private
Mhm.
dinner party where we would have it catered with a really, really nice healthy meal, something you probably have not eaten before, and we'd have what I call really good girl chat. I would give a short guide, just a short, right, like spiel on what we're eating, why, how to connect it to your health, and then open the room up for questions. And it was just a safe space for women to come and ask their questions and share their stories. And the tears would flow. We cry our lashes off. And then we eat a really good meal afterwards. So it was almost like a sister circle. So I would love to be able to offer those starting in Dallas and then different cities like Houston, Atlanta, DC. So depending upon 2022 and the travel restrictions, the plan is to take that on the road and offer those in different cities.
Wow, I love that. That sounds like fun. So you might have to come to Raleigh too once we can
Yes,
open everything up.
I
Yeah.
am open.
Yeah, that sounds fabulous. It's like that just sparked everything, with, eating and talking and all of
Yes.
that good stuff and health and what's going on. So, hopefully, prayerfully, we'll be able to hear about those coming up this year. And, one of the things that you were just mentioning, was one of the things that came to mind as you were speaking, was that, when women start to change what they're doing, eating, the way they're living, feeling, and all of that, that it impacts those future generations,
Mhm. Mhm.
families and the kids have a new habit, and it's just a great trickle down.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. One of my favorite quotes I live by is when you heal yourself, you heal all the women that came before you and all the
Mhm.
women that will come after you. And that's really how I look at my entire journey. I'm really big on spirituality. And so when my mom's health started declining and she transitioned, she passed away, I looked at it as if she gave her life to be motivation for me to spark and really inspire other women to live differently. So she wasn't sick, it wasn't in vain. It was really a catalyst, and it can change so many other women's lives, who then can change the lives of women and young girls that will come after us. A lot of the ways that we eat and the foods that are detrimental to our feminine health are traditional foods.
Mm.
And so we're told that it's genetic, and that's not true. Like fibroids aren't genetic. That it's not genetic.
Mhm.
PCOS is not genetic. The foods that you eat are traditional, and we've been eating them for centuries. And so we pass down traditions and ways of eating. And so in that way, we also pass down diseases. So the opposite of that, to your point, is when you learn to eat differently, and learn to take herbs and learn to supplement differently, you pass that way of life down. And so you pass down healing in a
Mhm.
different way. I think for me, one of the most satisfying things is that my nieces and my nephews drink green juice. And I call it dinosaur juice. I definitely have to, like, add a little pizzazz to it, put it in a cute cup,
Right.
maybe make it a little sweeter, but they drink kale, they drink green juice, and they
Mhm.
don't understand now what they're drinking. But rather than them drinking Minute Maid, they're drinking green juice. So I know that I'm passing down a different way of life. And so you're right. We have, as women, we really are the backbone of the household. So we have that power to change.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that is powerful. And so I think that's like a great place for us to wrap up.
I
But is
agree.
there any other thought that you want to share with us? Any inspiration or person or thing that inspires you to, keep going?
You know what? I just want to say thank you. I love being able to share this information on platforms built by women of color that are, broadcasted all over. I think the more women we can touch with this information, the better. So I just thank you for being consistent in what you do and being able, and being willing to open your platform to share this information. Is so important for women in the industry, who we know we make up the industry. They look like us. We're the
Yeah.
majority of that industry, and beyond. So anytime that I'm able to share, it keeps my spark lit and it keeps feeding my passion. So I just want to say thank you for having me and thank you for being open.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you're here. So glad to hear this transition and everything that you've made and how it's impacting the world. And just, we were just talking about how women can impact, like future generations going down. It's like we as hairstylists, as beauty professionals, interact with so many people. And it's like if we start to make shifts like you said, in yourselves, and then your clients start asking and you're sharing and having these conversations, even if you're all on the journey together,
Yeah.
we can impact the whole world from behind the chair.
I
So,
There's enough of us out there. There's enough hairstylists out there, nail techs,
yeah,
right? Makeup artists out there to continuously have the conversation.
yeah,
And that's really all it takes is a conversation, right? We're not trying to give everybody nutritional advice, but sometimes you can say one thing that will shift a person's mindset and it will change the entire trajectory of how they're living. So really sometimes it's just being that spark.
yeah, yeah. And it makes me think of the esthetician at Sephora.
Right. She was like, "Ma'am, I'm not selling you a concealer. You don't need it. It's it's your liver and it hurt, but it's what I needed to hear." And
Right.
it was a rabbit hole. So you're so right.
Yeah, yep, that one spark. So,
Yes.
yes. Well, keep shining bright. It's like, please let us know what you've taken from this conversation because we covered a lot and there are some really big takeaways. And so I'd love to know, drop in the comments what stood out to you and what maybe little minor change you can make today that
Yeah.
will make an impact on your future well-being.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for watching. With Beauty Superstars Talk, I have done over 80 interviews like this. So if you have missed any of them, you have missed a lot. To visit Mickey Wright is my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mickey Wright. Mickey just has 1K. Everyone always tries to give me different initials and stuff to go in there, but it's just MIKIWRIGHT. So follow us there. Visit me at beautysuperstars.com. And it's like, we'll actually send you a reminder about the upcoming shows. And so, again, want to invite you to check out Beauty Biz U, which is an online course through the Beauty Superstars Online Academy. And it actually is 90 Days to Wow, which is the salon's success system. And it takes you through the goal setting, the relationship building, and the where's your money, honey, all of the things that you need to build a really solid business and take you from zero to $1,000 a week. So it's at beautysuperstars.com and you can check on the online academy. So thank you all for being here. My name is Mickey Wright. I'm with beautysuperstars.com, and I encourage you all to keep reaching for the stars and really take good care of yourself and watch what you're eating. So thank you again, Anna. And it's like we will connect soon. Maybe we can do something interactive where we can actually help people, you know,
Yeah.
through this new year.
Yes. I'm on board.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thank you, everyone. See you soon.